It's February 8th, it's 5:34 PM, we're going to call the meeting to order. We're going to approve the minutes from the last meeting, which everybody should have gotten.
I'll move them.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
They were great.
Yeah. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, any street sign requests?
None this month.
No?
Mine's still open. Oh, that's old though, right? We're looking for new ones, isn't it?
Yeah, new ones.
Yeah. All right, review of, well, it says computer street prioritization, but it's supposed to be complete street.
You look at me?
Yeah.
But mine says complete.
Mine says review of computer street prioritization.
Oh, it's on the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
But it's complete street prioritization.
I reached out to one of the selectmen in Brookfield because Sujatha, the transportation coordinator at Central Mass, suggested that they were similar in nature to what we would be trying to do with our Complete Streets program. And she was going to arrange for the highway superintendent to, or someone from highway, but I assume the superintendent because he helped coordinate the effort up there. And so I will reach back out because she did not get back to me since she initially said they'd try to give us some dates. And then I thought we could all join in a Zoom thing or something and listen to what they did. I talked to Kristen, and some of the ARPA money has been earmarked for infrastructure highway, and I suspect you've got some targets on some of that.
Yeah.
But if we can utilize some of it for parts of the engineering that might be necessary to move forward on the Complete Streets application.
Yep, and she actually got some money appropriated, $50,000 maybe?
For Complete Streets? Or
Just
from-
for like road infrastructure
Right.
engineering.
I think it's more than that. Yeah.
I heard her in a meeting.
So I thought, there's their access to some funding that would allow us to move forward on putting the pieces together so we could get a grant application into the state for the funds, because we've got the prioritization plan. It would, I think what we'd want to do is look at that list again and ask ourselves, how would we prioritize those activities? I mean, do we think that number 1 and number 2 and number 3 are in the correct order, or, because it's mainly sidewalk stuff. And I don't, I mean, should it be a broader cast of characters that participates in that discussion? We're gonna have a Center Village discussion next Thursday night, and you're gonna get an invitation to that upstairs, but it'll be on Zoom too. But we thought that'd be an opportunity to say to folks, you know, the Complete Street stuff is on our list. What would your input be? You know, where would you like to see the money thrown at first? Then you get some, this one is for town officials and boards and committees, as opposed to the last one we did, which was citizens in the center. But that would give us some sense of what people think ought to be done first.
Well, the upcoming meeting is really for people involved in town.
Anybody can come, but, I mean, last time we excluded everybody that was on, we didn't say you can't come, we just didn't invite them.
I can't even talk to them.
Well, we thought, you know, it would be good for just people that live in the center and
Citizens.
stakeholders
Yeah.
to have a clear chance and not be, you know, because lots of times, if you're on a board or a committee, you've got some inside information, and you might push the conversation in that direction, and we thought, let's just let this be a little more open.
Right.
And it worked out. We had 40
That was a
people in
good
the hall,
session.
and we had 15 or so on Zoom, so,
It was a really good session.
yeah, we invited about 100, but we almost got, you know, half. So that was good. And it was a good flow of conversation. We went on for an hour and a half or so.
Yeah.
But this time we wanted to invite boards, committees, town officers and stuff, departments. So you'll get an invitation from Mary probably tomorrow. And it'll be, we gotta figure out exactly what time. It'll probably be 7, I think, and it'll be upstairs in the end. But that would give us a chance to get
With that
some
many people, we
feedback.
might want to come down here.
Yeah, what do you,
I think we're set up for 32 down here.
how do you reserve this space?
Abby.
Really? Is that easy?
That
Yeah,
easy.
is that easy?
You got a big crowd on
What day is it?
Thursday, the 16th?
Probably
I'd like to-
Can we pencil you in?
I just forwarded you another email from them.
Yeah, I saw that one, that's March.
Yeah, pencil. That's Thursday, right? 16th?
14th is Tuesday.
Yeah, it's
so
just,
it
you know,
was-
we're set up with the audio visual
Thursday.
down here and the laptops here and, you know, whatever you need.
Yeah, 16.
So if she wanted to, so instead of putting up a screen, we can hitch
Drop
up a
that
computer to
screen.
that screen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you can plug it, whoever's doing it.
Just
put
do
the
it right into
laptop,
that.
Plug the laptop right in and
Okay.
it comes out. And
It's actually a better room, isn't it?
you know,
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. I didn't think we'd be allowed.
Just give people space to write and.
Oh, yeah?
attention.
No, it's great. 32?
I think it's set for 32, 2, 4, 6, 12.
I don't think we'll get many.
18, 24,
My sense is we wouldn't
30.
get.
34 right now.
Okay.
34, but it can go up to, I think, 40, 42. Comfortably. We can get more in here.
What are you legally limited to?
The room capacity. is
75 or something? 60?
The room capacity is 60 or 66.
That's not bad. Good. We were gonna try to do it in the town hall again, but the old town hall, but it wasn't available, so they got a dance class or something. Okay,
So
good.
So what time?
I'll confirm with you what time.
Okay.
And I'll, take care of some other stuff. But, so that's my report on complete streets.
Okay. All right, traffic and infrastructure plan.
before you move on, let me just, if I might just, I know I have a conflict next Thursday, so I can't be there, but something's come up, and so there's a FinCom discussion, other discussion, but a little bit touching on, do we use the buildings we own, sort of thing. So the 1870 Town Hall, if we're looking at sidewalks and complete streets in the center of town, would it be possible to put an adjunct in there to look at making, you look at the front of the 1870, there's stairs coming up to the right, to Faith Lindsay's driveway.
Mhm.
Can we look at a little project to make those usable for somebody who's got, not wheelchair?
They're mobile, but they're not mobile.
Mobile, but not fully mobile, because I think that would be tremendous, because what it does is it then ties parking to being able to get into the first floor of that building. And that's a barrier. I just realized, Victoria Flynn was in talking to FinCom, and I just realized that is a huge barrier to use of that building. But if those steps to the side, there's not many of them, they're in pretty good shape right now, but they need, it's like what we do standard in public buildings these days. You have the wider tread and the shorter riser. If they could be configured to give us those kinds of stairs with good, handles going up,
Yeah.
I think that would be a nifty thing to put in, certainly at the design phase, kind of cost it out to see if we could do that for that part of town because that does open up the parking. I mean, you got a lot of, if you park over at the Berlin Memorial School, walk over to 1870, you got plenty of parking, but there's a lot of people that can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, the only way they could get in would be to park between the bullet house and that, and go in.
Yeah, and that's pretty much drop-off access, because there's not enough parking up there to accommodate, but
Right.
But this is really for people with some limitation on mobility, but not wheelchair. Be nice to have, if you think about using the center of town,
Yeah.
and where complete streets would make it.
Complete Streets is right in that alley. So, good.
Yeah, if you had that nice one-way coming up Woodward, or going down Woodward, you had two diagonal, right? It's a lot of parking that we don't have today. So That's my speech for next week.
Good, I'll give it.
Yeah, I
Tune
mean,
in.
I'm game definitely making Woodward one out, one way. Be a lot safer.
Which
You know,
way, which way would you run it?
Probably coming out, or coming southbound, coming from your house to the center. Because technically, like, all those parking spaces at the end, the road's not wide enough. You
Right.
know, technically, we should be marking out all those parking spaces and taking them away to make sure the road's wide enough for 2 cars to pass. But when those cars are parked there, I mean,
Yeah,
this is a
It's tight.
decades-old issue. It's
Yep.
not something that just happened, but yeah, as we see, we've had more multiple events in the center of town between 19 Carter, First Parish, 1870. I think we really need to, deal with that with complete streets. I know some people will be upset, but it's the safety issue.
Well, we experimented with the Carter Woodard Avenue one-way, and, I think we heard people say probably Carter Street one-way is more problematic.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear as much that Woodard Avenue being one-way would be problematic for people.
Yeah.
And, it would take some adjustment, but.
Yeah, I mean, you are correct, it would open up more parking spaces.
Yeah. I mean, the difficulty is that you've got driveway access all along that other side, so you don't have as much as you don't double necessarily, but you.
No, you don't.
You'd add some, and that's valuable, given the nature of what's happening in the center with all these activities.
Yeah.
Good.
I actually just watched a truck that missed the entrance to National Lumber at lunchtime today.
Missed it?
Yep, and pulled up, he was coming from 495.
Yeah.
Pulled up, stopped in front of the church, and then rounded the corner right there at the 1870. Right by the sign that says no through truck traffic.
Huh.
And then went down and made the 90 return coming from.
Coming back.
And then swung it back out and pulled into National.
And he did it.
Lumber. He did it, but he was within inches of the car parked down at the intersection.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Oh. Yeah. It would help with that too, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They used to constantly wipe out the monument down the
Right.
corner all the time.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Traffic and infrastructure plan.
So, infrastructure on the South Street Bridge hasn't picked up at all. It's now between the consultant and Mass DOT. Mass DOT, according to Carl Ayers, our engineer, has slow to roll.
Really?
Yeah, we're not sure we're gonna do the fall of '23 actual build. Carl, he was actually upset that it's gone so slow now, because we were moving right along. And,
So you deal with District 3?
yeah,
The Regional Planning Commission has moved their transportation crew into that new building on Plantation.
yeah.
And so they've got contact with that crew more now than they used to. So strategically, we may want to use that opportunity to just inquire sometimes, So, I mean, I could say to Sujatha, we've got this project. We're kind of wondering where it is.
Yeah, because they haven't even set a schedule to come in and do test bores or anything yet.
Are they responsible for oversight on the 290 ramp? District 3, or is somebody else doing that?
I don't know what their district covers.
Because they're busy over there now, and they were busy on 495 today down toward Mass Pike. So stuff, those are two big projects, but I don't know if that's District 3 or whether it's
I can look into it. We do have a map.
higher.
Of the garage.
Higher, I mean, they're such big projects, you'd assume that maybe some higher entity might be focusing on it.
Yeah.
But I can ask Sujatha about, did she find in that other projects in the region are having trouble getting attention?
Yeah, that'd be great. Because we haven't even met in a while on the River Road Bridge. Because they kind of like changed the focus from that whole project to the property down there off of River Run.
Okay,
So the whole group that was getting together for that kind of shifted everything towards that. So we haven't even met and talked about the widening of that bridge or anything. And that, as far as I know, they didn't even extend the date. That should have been done in December.
Right. I said to Kristen, if we're not going to get, if the mitigation from Riverbridge is going to be a partial payment toward, I mean, let's say they did the engineering. I said to her, what if, since they don't have the wherewithal to do the engineering right now, what if we used the ARPA money to do some of the engineering, and then we're able to put in the application for some of the bridge money from the state, which is elusive, but nonetheless it's there. And then tag Riverbridge for some of the equivalent amount of money of what it would have cost them to widen the deck and put in the pedestrian bridge. I mean, that's what they agreed to. So if they said, we'll widen the deck and we'll put in a pedestrian bridge, we should be able to calculate what the cost of that would have been and then say, that's your share, and not necessarily wait for them to come up with the money to do the engineering for what we really want to do, potentially, but have them pay that share toward the completion of the project, down the road.
Well, we did pay for the engineering.
So we've got it engineered already?
Yeah, so the same group we're using, VHB,
Right.
Carl and Olivia, they did take that. So we took Chapter 90 money.
So you know what the what the costs are going to be to move forward with the project?
Yeah, it's just over 1.3
Okay.
for it.
So that wasn't clear to me.
Yeah, and that was actually whatever was written in the mitigation, where it included the sidewalks,
Right.
The upgrading, the continuation of it, the widening of the bridge. So whatever was written in the mitigation is what they,
Projected.
yeah.
But do you think that just widening the bridge is going to be satisfactory, or do we need to look at a bigger issue?
Well, their quote, they actually went with, so the idea was they were going to do the separate pedestrian bridge and
Right.
then have the widening. Carl and Olivia actually have it designed, so it's going to be all one.
Right.
There's going to be no separate freestanding things. So the theory behind it was they were going to present that to the Sennies.
Okay.
This is
So
what it was
before
going to
you,
cost.
let me just interject. I don't know if you want all
Right.
pieces of this conversation to be recorded in this setting. I'm not sure where that's at, Fred. I don't mean to, but I'm just,
Well, it's been discussed through that group,
oh,
like
Yeah.
the River Bridge.
But not with the public.
Yeah.
right. That I'm just.
But
I'm
anyway,
just,
your engineering is independent.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So 1.3 is what they thought it would cost, but that was a combined bridge pedestrian, or was that separate?
No, so what they did was.
They looked at what the mitigation called for.
Yeah, so their bid was based on what was written for
Okay.
mitigation.
You know what we spent for engineering?
It was, well, it's not total yet. We put the cap at 45 or 47,000.
Okay.
And I think right now we're somewhere between 11 and 17.
The one thing I do want to comment about there is that this piece of that whole project, that area down there, is a public safety driven bit
Right.
that can't wait, which is why it makes sense for the town to do what we're doing right now.
Well, that's why so if we've done the engineering, that answers that part of the question for me, because that's what I thought. Get the engineering done, and then you could put in an application. But they engineered it for the specs that we talked about in the development agreement, but what we're going to work on from what they're recommending is different. So.
Yes. Yeah, because.
And so what the remainder of some of this money would get put toward finalizing that type of plan as opposed to the one we put forward initially.
Yes.
And you feel comfortable with combining the two, what's it, save money to some degree?
Well, it builds a better structure,
Okay.
the way they described it.
Are they removing what's there
Yes.
down to the bare bones?
Yes.
So the flow wouldn't be obstructed as much as it is today?
Nope. Nope.
Or would it be the
So
same
what they were
size?
designing, basically it's the same size. They were just going to have to add on to the wing wall to accommodate the width,
Okay.
the increased width.
Did the FEMA maps change what's projected for 100-year flood and 500-year flood? And does that get, they must have looked at that.
Yeah, they did. So they pulled all that in, and actually they're trying to keep the overall width of it within the confines, so we're not like pushing out into the wetlands.
Yeah, and getting into a lot of complex stuff. That was the, I mean, I know we end up with backage and we flood the whole area there, so.
Yeah.
And so it serves as sort of a way to control water as it moves across into the river, and I suspect it benefits Hudson downstream and stuff like that, but if we get more crazy events, and they're calculating that in, that's great, because some of us remember when, well, before Brewbrook Dam and Ross Dam, you know, we flooded everything down there. You couldn't leave South Berlin because all the roads were flooded, you know, so.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, you couldn't cross that stretch, you couldn't cross by
Really?
7, no, yeah. Fry's, you know, below Jones Road on Pleasant Street, the water
Yeah.
was over the road there, yeah.
Yeah.
South Street was over the road by Walters, you know.
Wow. It's
That was in the
getting pretty bad
50s,
now.
yeah, so. But those dams have helped upstream, so. But I'll check with Sujatha about what's going on with the South Street stuff.
Yeah, with our project. We were just down there today, doing some repairs to it, and we finished cutting down some of the trees in the area that needed to come down for the project. But yeah, we haven't had much progress. And actually today, Kristen had put our Chapter 90 projects up to bid. They're supposed to be available tomorrow. That's why I was almost late, trying to give her numbers that she needed before getting them. So hopefully we'll be getting some paving done this year.
What's your target?
Well, from last year, it was going to be Highland Street and Randall Road. This year was going to be Lower Sawyer and upper part of Peach Hill. And then some drainage work.
Yeah.
It all depends how much money we have in fiscal year '24 for the second project.
Right, and to touch on the 495 and 290 project, I did reach out to Mass DOT. Obviously, I have some serious concerns about that project. We were not included for any what we call action plans, what ifs. What ifs, you know, a piece of equipment breaks down, shuts the lanes down, what if traffic backs up, what if they get off on 62? Spoke with the head traffic engineer. He was actually gonna try to come tonight, but he couldn't make it. So our March meeting, Mass DOT should be here.
Okay.
You know, they understand that we can't handle you know, even a minor glitch, we're looking at 5,000 to 8,000 cars more a day on Pleasant Street, Story Hill, Gates Pond. If anything happens significant, especially in the summer travel on Sunday nights, if it's still down in one lane or you're slower to get off, I mean, we're probably looking at, you know, 20,000 cars every Sunday. So they are going to include us into their action plan for signage, and they also have contacts with Waze. And
So they can.
and another maybe Google Maps. There's contacts where they can help us alleviate traffic. We have seen an increase in traffic even when they're just out there putting out cones and doing minor surveying. There's backups, we've seen an increase in traffic in town. You know, you can tell when you go down 62 and there's a line of 10 cars waiting to make a left on Pleasant. You're saying something, what's this? You know, and then you go out to the highway, you get down to 495, and you see all the brake lights, all the cars starting to slow down. And they're not even doing construction yet.
No, it's gonna,
So-
and it's gonna last how long?
All summer, all fall, I think.
Yeah, so,
I think they want to have it done by the fall, but, you know, it is such a major traffic route, summertime traffic,
okay.
on Sundays.
Sundays.
It's immense.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, they think that they're going to be able to maybe filter cars down to the Mass Pike. That's a shortcut to get to the Mass Pike if you're going west. It's a 17-mile shortcut. 17 miles
big.
shorter to go that way. So, you know, they understand, they apologize for not including us from the beginning. They thought they had everything pre-planned until I made my phone call, so.
Mm.
But they're more than happy to work with us, whether they're gonna place sideboards permanently in town for their whole construction period, or, you know, we just need to come up with something, you know.
Well, it's good you caught it
Yeah.
early now instead of some
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon when we all said.
Yeah, so when I do confirm that Mass DOT will be here, we'll obviously do like a social media push for anybody on Pleasant Street, Surrey Hill, Gates Pond, Central Street to attend the meeting. Because the biggest thing is we need to have direct contacts. I mean, on a Sunday at 4 o'clock when we're inundated with thousands of cars, who do we call? You know, so. yeah. Right. All right, let's talk about Carter Street. The last data I pulled off of Carter Street, or the last, I did a month of data off of Carter Street. It appears the signs, the speed signs are working. 99.84% of the cars are within the limit going north. And 99.42% of the cars coming south are within the speed limit. That was the last month of data. I did a 30-day poll from the data from today, yesterday and today. So I do believe the signs are working. I think the only thing I'm going to push is that I'm going to go to the board, ask for funds, put solar panels on those. We did replace the battery. You know, they were out for probably a couple of weeks over probably 3 weeks over the winter because they're plastic, and when it's below freezing, we don't want to be breaking the clips because they're all plastic clips.
Yeah.
And of course, when it's 30 below with the wind chill, we're not going to climb up there and change batteries either. But we did see a huge decrease in battery lifespan, like from 12, 14 days on Carter Street down to like 6, maybe
Yeah.
7 tops.
So what's the cost?
Well, my last estimate that I got was around 1,100 per unit.
So do you want a motion from the committee to support that?
I'd say we do the
effort on
two.
your part?
Yeah, I'd say we do the two, because the other ones, you know, should be mobile. They, you know, I mean,
Yep.
when we bought these, they were supposed to go in areas for 2 weeks at a time and be moved. You know, if we are going to keep them where they are, we need to order the appropriate straps, where now we have them on automotive straps. They're not, what are they, half inch? They should probably be 1 inch straps, and they're half inch. And rather than putting 8 straps, you know, up into 8 half-inch straps, then, you know, get the 3 appropriate straps that go with it, and get them set up for solar.
So, I mean, I'll make a motion that the committee encourage the select board to make an expenditure to, what do you want, $4,800 or something like that?
I mean, I'd say, I'm always the baby step person. I say, let's get the first 2 done.
So you want to do 2
And
and
if
then 2
they're
later?
satisfactory,
Yeah,
then we go for the other 2.
so you need like $2,500?
Yeah, I think it's like $2,200-$2,300 somewhere in that area.
Yeah, let's say 25, and that gives you clips and whatever else you're thinking.
Not more than 2,500.
Yeah. That gives you your committee as your support, at least.
Yeah, 'cause there's no reason to move them. You know, I think if we move them, we're going to be back to square one again.
No, I mean, and it's an area in town that benefits on a continual basis.
Yeah.
And like you say, if down the road you do the other 2 so you can make those mobile,
Yeah,
and put them in East Berlin on Gates Pond Road sometimes.
yeah,
you know,
Pleasant
shelter them.
Street, South Street,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I just want to see the longevity of them. If in fact they do what they say they're going to do, they do stay on, they do charge the batteries.
Yeah.
You know, we can go 3 days without sun, and they'll still charge. I mean, you know, it's kind of like our own quality control to make sure that it's the best fit for us. I don't want to go out and spend, you know, $5,000 and turn out, say it's just a touch better than replacing batteries. You know, I want to be able to say, yep, that solved our problem.
Good.
So a question on that is, what kind of batteries come with the solar?
I think the batteries that are in it, charge the batteries that are already in it.
So it's still the nickel metal hydride
Yeah.
batteries that are
Yeah,
presently in
yeah, the
there?
batteries that are in it, I believe that they will charge those batteries. They'll keep those batteries charged that we have. We have plenty of spares.
And those are rechargeables?
Yeah, those are rechargeable batteries. Yeah. So I think when the solar comes out, if it's not working, it's charging the batteries. And then obviously when it activates. it
Right,
sends the
right,
power
right.
away. Yeah, that will keep them running 24/7. Yeah, like I said, we got 2 sets of batteries with each unit. So even if the winter time, if for some reason we have a long period of cloudiness and snow, we can still go out and throw a charged set of batteries in there.
So, and the follow-up on the kind of batteries is even the batteries are rechargeable, they still have a life where they don't recharge anymore?
Sure.
So-
Yeah, we still have a spare set, that are in the closet that we haven't even opened the boxes to. And we've got 12 batteries that we've used, and I think we get 16 total. So we got 12 batteries, we have 4 spares in the closet. We haven't even put a charge on them. So yeah, so when they're all installed, we'll basically have 8 spare batteries sitting around.
So do you think sometime you could put that unit, instead of by my driveway, put it on the other side? By where Carter Street turns?
The only issue with that, and I did read your email on that, the only issue I have is that I don't want to distract anybody in an intersection.
Got it.
I'd rather than looking up at the sign, I'd rather have them see the kid on the side of the road or the person walking
So-
on the side of the road.
You-
Because I saw the email and I drove and I thought about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it's here, people are going to be going like this rather than looking straight ahead.
The only point is, they're not in the speed limit once they get in that intersection. They're
Yeah.
the traffic is, it's a rare vehicle that's going
Yeah.
speed
Yeah.
limit.
Yeah,
And same thing the other way, they gun.
yeah.
As soon as they
So they
round the
make the
bend in
corner.
front of Walter's
Yeah.
house, they
Yeah.
gun it. So
Yeah.
when they're gunning it, their cars are pointed at my house, which is another
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
But they really hit it. They hit it when they're,
Yeah, they're
Looking
going
at the
up.
hill.
Yeah, once we're on solar, we can actually switch those over to power to get coming and going traffic. But if I switch them over now,
Oh.
it only lasts like 3 days,
okay,
if that, because you're gonna get two-way traffic.
yeah.
But, that's the one thing too, this is the one benefit of going solar, if we have a constant charge for those batteries, then we can switch it to go both directions. We'll actually read the speeds going up the hill, it's not gonna blank.
Right, right.
We'll read the outgoing speeds
Oh, that's cool.
as well. So, and I think the way that one's set up, you wouldn't get the outgoing speed until about Mudi's house or whoever's there now. The Verizon building, that's probably where you catch their outgoing speed. But like I said, with the solar, we can use the power. Right now, they're powered down, and the lumens are down, the lighting, everything's powered as low as it can possibly go. Just to get extra life out of the batteries. All right, so we had a motion, do we have a second?
I second on appropriating the money.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right, yeah, maybe with the board Monday night, if I get time, I'll
Great.
sneak that in. Any other business?
The only other item is the tip, and maybe the logical thing to do is to, at some point, get somebody from Central Mass to come in and meet with us and go through the process a little bit so we understand. That's the same deal if we invest some of the, I know you've probably got your ARPA money targeted, but if we could, if we understood what we needed to do to move forward on the TIP application, and it was small dollars, then it'd be worth it, because we could submit they're taking applications now, so it would be another cycle, but we could get in on it next year and be in a situation where we could
Yeah, I
capture
also
some of that
applied-
money for the five corners.
I applied for a grant for the school zone safety as well.
Yeah, because
Through the state. I'm supposedly supposed to hear about that soon.
and that's pretty low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, yeah, that's, there's a lot of money for that.
So there's a pretty, and what's that gonna be, signage and stuff?
Yeah, well, the speed limit signs on South Street aren't legal, because we never did a traffic study, we just put up 20-mile-an-hour zone signs. But that's really only for during school hours. We never put flashing school signs out on South Street,
Right,
part of the bill, which we should have, but we never did. So we've gone 24 years.
so do you need to do a traffic study?
No, to change the speed limit, you need to do a traffic.
Do you
study.
want to change the speed limit?
Well, no, we can, with this, we can just do a school zone and set
And
it up
then
to
you're
flash.
set.
It's all solar, it's not powered by electricity, so I put it for solar.
And the grant covers 100% or installation and everything?
Yeah, and then also while I was on the phone with them, I found out there's also a, I think they call it like a short grant program. If you have something that pops up that you're in specific need of for specific emergency, there's a grant application to get funds, like a shovel-ready project.
Right.
Like if we had another washout on 62 like we did, I don't know if Fred remembers that 20 whatever years ago, I remember getting a call at my house at 6 in the morning when the Story Hill Road water things backed up, all the water rushed out by the yellow farmhouse and washed out 62.
Road?
Yeah, it came down
Yeah.
Brewer Road and washed out 62. Yeah, so I guess there's grants out for stuff like that too.
Hmm.
Yeah, but there's quite a bit of funds available for like they call it like a short-term grant application.
But you got to have it shovel ready.
It has to be something that can be shovel ready. Yeah, like if he has a catch basin that fails, and he has equipment to come in and do it, they can do it. All they need is the money and they can put it together themselves.
But do they want it engineered somehow? Do they?
I think it has to be, if it's new, it has to be engineered.
Right.
If it's pre-existing, you're replacing.
You
something
just replace what's
pre-existing.
there.
You're replacing something that's there.
So,
You know?
I mean, that's the unfortunate part of that. It sounds like if it fails and there's some structural problem that you're not resolving because you're just replacing what was there, you haven't solved the problem in
Yeah,
the long run.
unless it failed due to age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things about the corridor study is it identifies those culverts running, particularly from Ben's to the Boylston line, and says here, and there is money in some culvert grant programs that we might try to,
Yeah, DER puts them out.
Yeah.
I think one just ended.
Yeah.
One was-
Kristen said that she tried to pick up some of the culvert money for Leicester when she was there, and it isn't as prolific as it sounds like the money for the school stuff is, but it might be easier to pick off than some of the tip money, in terms of how long we might have to wait for tip.
Yeah, I think, a lot of it, there's more certain criteria.
Yeah.
Because I looked into it, the whole screen, and because the one at the bottom of Randall Road, it's a 3-part, and the middle one has a hole in the side of it.
Huh.
And we found that out when we did a culvert assessment class.
Right.
But of course, my predecessor did nothing about it. So that's another thing that we have to catch up on.
Yeah.
So when we put, if we do get those speed limit signs, those, the new
School
ones,
zone?
do we have to have a study done then, so we can put a speed limit to it?
Yeah, the speed limit just stay what it is on South Street 30.
So speed limit on South Street stays the way it is, just school zone.
School zone
You
flash.
can do that
Yeah, we
without
can
a
set that
study.
up. We can set that up. I don't want to do a speed study.
School zone has a state set level.
What's that?
Does a school zone designated, does that have a state, Massachusetts set level speed limit?
Yes.
Yeah,
When
okay.
it's properly posted.
Okay.
And what's that, just 20
Yeah.
automatic?
Yeah, it's on about 20.
And my sense has always been that if we're not careful and we think the speed limits are need to be lowered some places, we might discover that the state won't let us, they want us to increase them.
Yeah, we did that one road 15 years ago. They wanted 25, the state said 45.
Yeah, still, yeah.
It's based on the average. It's based on the average speeds.
Yeah, so you can get into hot water by asking for something that you might not want the result for, right?
Correct.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, that's something like you'd rather have somebody like grab one of our unmarked cars on the radar and have the person go in the cruiser with the officer and sit there for an hour. That will give you a baseline. I mean, obviously it takes more than an hour, but you know, after an hour, we'll give you a baseline of what this state would say the speed limit would be. So, I know they are trying to pass a mass general law where we can circumvent that, but I have not seen it come to fruition yet. Where Berlin can say every road in town is 25 miles an hour. You know, I mean, it's happening like, you know, you see like the Fitchburgs, the Natics, and Leominsters, and
Hudson, New Hampshire.
Framinghams, Hudson, you know, you're seeing
They're
in
doing
like
that?
communities like that, but they also have the dense population to do it. Where
Sure.
we don't. Where I mean, I could see it more feasible for Berlin to say speed limit's 30 miles an hour.
Right.
You know, unless 60, you know, 62, I don't think we can control. But all of our secondaries and back roads we can control.
Who'd be pushing back on that? Municipalities, I would think, would want to support it.
Yeah, I think everybody's supporting it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it's just more getting the language right.
Yeah, you try to think, I mean, there probably are elements out there that would say, no, we don't want this, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, think about the issue of our state laws, you know, town, city, you know, you have city laws, you have town, like, should just be speed laws.
Yeah.
Town, city, municipality, whatever you want to call it, it should fall under one, but, you know, like, even in some of our laws that we do with, you know, you have to make sure that it falls under a town.
So what's your sense, would that be set up so that it'd have to go to town meeting, or would it just go?
No, I think
to
it
the
could be
select
done, I
board?
think it could be done with the select board.
Huh.
You know, I mean, obviously, I think the select board probably have us have open meetings, public meetings to discuss and come up with a plan. But, yeah, I mean, it's about time they start giving it back to us, you know, the authority back to us. They're roads maintained by us and paid for by us, so.
Yeah, oversight of the others.
I understand, you know, Route 62, we're not gonna have much leeway on, but
Chief, do you know where that is? And is that,
I don't, alls I know is that they were trying to pass it before their last break, the last session, when it was in December, November, so.
this is kind of like the home rule with respect to speed limits, you know, on the local roads.
Yeah, yeah, you know, I have a Central Mass Chiefs meeting next week, I can reach out to some of the people there. And then I think I have a Mass Chiefs meeting 2 weeks after that, so I can reach out to there as well.
Well, I probably have it right here on this box. I'm just curious, but you're pretty sure it didn't get passed?
Yeah, because I think once it gets passed, I think they would probably, you know, Mass Chiefs would put out a email to everybody.
Put out a notice, yeah.
You know, to everybody. But that would make our jobs a lot easier.
Good. Want a motion?
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah? You ready?
We're
Yeah.
gonna pick a date though.
Oh, we have to pick a
You
date.
know what, let's pick a date once I hear back from Mass DOT.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think it's important, because I really want to get it out to the people.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we need people from Pleasant Street, Story Hill, 60, you know, Central Street, Gates Pond, you know, to come to, you know, hear their projection, the length of the project and whatnot, and to show community support. Yeah, I'd rather have them come before than adjourn it, and start writing our senator and state rep their complaints. I'd rather be able to mix it before it even starts.
I move that we adjourn
Yeah,
until a time that is determined by the chair based on DOT's availability. That sounds good.
yeah, and we may have to change the time of the meeting to DOT business hours,
I'm around.
so. you
I'm
know,
always around.
Yeah, I mean, I figure with the committee, we'd be able to do it
Yeah.
during business hours and maybe open up to a Zoom as well for people that are at work. So we're gonna have to be a little creative to try to get people here.
So the next meeting of this committee would be a public invitation to what DOT's doing
Yeah.
at the interchange.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess we have to stay no one else to second the motion.
That's right, Sean.
I'm not a voting member, I'd be
I know.
on this, right? It's up to you, Fred.
Fred's happy to
It's a motion
stay.
to
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing going on tonight.
But you got a second,
Numbers
you got a
going on.
second, but actually, do you have to second a motion to adjourn? I don't know if you
It's,
do.
you have to second it, it's non-debatable though.
It's non-debatable.
Oh,
You can't debate it.
we've been doing this all wrong on FinCom because
Oh,
we
really?
just,
You debate whether to
we don't
adjourn?
debate, we just take the motion and go home.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nobody
no.
seconds it.
Oh, you're supposed to vote.
All right, I'll have
In
to
fact,
tell them.
If on a Zoom meeting, when we're remote, we have to do a roll call vote, of course, on everything, so we have to do a roll call on the
All right.
motion to adjourn, but I always say, and this is non-debatable, so don't try to pull any fast ones.
I guess I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
All right.
Aye.